Quinton Byfield was drafted second overall in the 2020 NHL entry draft to the LA Kings. Coming from the Sudbury Wolves in the OHL this year, he played 45 games and put up 82 points. To be honest, I wasn't really sure how it would work out. I took a lot of the prospects that were drafted in round 1 this year and put them on their NHL team. I know EA is probably going to address that in a roster update, but for now, I had to do it manually, so when they retire, it does say undrafted, but I could not update that, so yeah, but it still kind of worked out, so it's good. So let's hop into an NHL 21 simulation, and let's see what EA thinks will happen in Quinton Byfield's NHL career. As always, I don't know where else we would start, but we are starting in year number 1, and Quinton is going to be scratched here. He's 77 overall, and he is currently on that 3-year, $900K contract. The team would finish last in the Pacific Division with 66 points this season. Not great. Byfield would actually end up playing 58 games, though, putting up 12 points and having a minus 21 this season. Tyler Seguin would lead the league with 106 points this year, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be your Stanley Cup champions. Kirill Kaprizov, a player that I had to create there. Once again, I'm sure you guys know if you're coming over from the NHL 20 simulations. But yeah, Patrick Marleau, the top retiring player this year with 1,207 points. And the Kings won the draft lottery this year, and they picked up a high elite winger. So potential line mate. All right, now that the ice is broken, Quinton Byfield is up to 80 overall, but he would still start the season scratched. Here is the lineup, though. I just figured I would show you guys to see what's going on. They have Pietrangelo and Doughty. That is a deadly pairing. And then they got Peterson and Quick as the goaltenders. The team would finish last in the Pacific Division again, and Byfield would end up playing 67 games this year with 23 points and a minus 17. Nate Mack is going to lead the league this year with 103 points. Patrick Kane and Bergeron right on his tail there. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win back-to-back Stanley Cups here to start this one, so yeah, that's a thing. And Corey Perry will be the top retiring player here for year number 2, putting up 842 points in his NHL career. In year number 3, Quinton Byfield is all the way up to 85 overall, and he would finally make the day 1 lineup here. Pietrangelo and Doughty still going to be the top pairing, no doubt there. And then we've got Merzlikins as the new starting goaltender here, 84 overall. The team just misses out on the playoffs, getting 5th in the Pacific Division this year with 38 wins. And Byfield would only play 27 games, putting up 23 points. So it looked like he was on a good pace, but I guess he had a pretty severe injury. Connor McDavid would put up 111 points, leading the league this year. And the Dallas Stars are going to be your Stanley Cup champions in year number 3. Eric Stahl going to retire as a Montreal Canadian with 1,210 points. Quinton's overall went up, but his line position went down. He's 87 overall, but he is now on the 3rd line. He is playing with that high elite winger they drafted, though, so that's pretty nice. I want to try pronouncing his name, but I know I'm going to butcher it. Anyway, he signed a new 1-year, $4.5 million contract. The team finishes last in the Pacific again with 29 wins this season. Quinton would play 80 games and put up 34 points, and Nate Mack would lead the league again here with 106. The Broad Street Bullies, Philadelphia Flyers, are the Stanley Cup champions for this year. No hardware for Byfield, unfortunately, and Jumbo Joe going to be the top retiring player with 1,707 points. This year, his overall went up 2 more again to 89, and he's on the first line, so that's fire. He's still got Pietrangelo and Doughty as the top pair on his squadron, and Merzlikins, going to be the starting goaltender, signs a new 2-year, $5 million contract. Team finishes second last in the Pacific this year with 79 points, and Quinton Byfield would lead the team, playing 78 games and putting up 57 points. Austin Matthews going to lead the league. That Toronto pair there, or I guess trio up at the top, clearly dominating, but the Vancouver Canucks would ultimately take home the Stanley Cup here. Jonathan Toews also going to retire as a Montreal Canadian with 1,109 points. In year 6, Quinton's going to be playing with Ratti and Grigorenko on the first line there. Petrangelo's now down to 83 overall, so yeah, that tailed off really quick. Merzlikins still going to be the starter. 6th place in the Pacific sits the Los Angeles Kings with 76 points this year. Quinton Byfield would play the full 82 games and put up 54 points with a minus 11 this season. Nate Mack going to absolutely dominate this year with 133 points, and I had to do a double take on Quinn Hughes there, putting up 117 for himself. The San Jose Sharks are the Stanley Cup champions this time around, and Patrice Bergeron going to be the top retiring player here with 1,292 points. Honestly, not too sure what LA's thinking here, but they demoted Quinton to the second line. He will be playing with Svitov and Antonio Strangis. We got Trouba and Doughty as the top defensive pair there, and Merzlikins still going to be the starter at 83 overall. A new $8 million 2-year contract with Byfield here and the LA Kings, signing a lot of short deals, but the team finally finds some success, finishing second in the Pacific with 103 points. Byfield would put up 59 points and be a plus 10 this season, playing 80 games. Nate Mack continuing to show dominance here with 111 points for him, winning himself another Art Ross. And the Edmonton Oilers are going to be your Stanley Cup champions. And speaking of the Oilers, they are the ones that deleted the LA Kings, taking 6 games in round 1 there. So at least they, lost to the eventual Stanley Cup winning champions. I know some people think that's a good thing. Stamkos, top retiring player with 1,310 points. Quinton's line mates would remain the same. He will continue playing with Svitov and Strangis here for year 8. We got Cale Makar and Klingberg as the new top defensive pair, and Kada Hat as the new starting goaltender. So some major changes here in LA. Team finishes 5th in the Pacific with 84 points and 38 wins. Quinton Byfield would play 80 games, putting up 57 points and having a minus 6. Pettersson going to lead the league this year, winning himself an Art Ross with 107 points. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win the league. It sounds weird to say that, but I guess that's technically what they did. I feel like that's more of like a FIFA term. But anyway, the LA Kings were eliminated in the conference finals against the Vancouver Canucks, taking 7 games, and Patrick Kane is the top retiring player this year with 1,614 points. Final season before the double digits here, Jaden Schwartz will be the new left winger for that line. Trouba and Makar, the top defensive pair, and Kada Hat still the starting goaltender. Another short deal signed here, 2 years, $9.175. The team would finish 1st in the league, winning themselves a President's Trophy with 114 points. And Byfield would pop off this year, 97 points and a plus 36, playing the full 82 games. So he's finally on the front page here, which is great to see. Rantanen, though, would lead the league with 117 points. And his squad, the Colorado Avalanche, would also win the Stanley Cup. You saw Kada Hat winning some trophies there. It's good stuff. So the LA Kings having a turnaround here, although they would be swept in the first round by the Winnipeg Jets, so an unfortunate end to that season. But Ovechkin, the top retiring player for this year, with 1,905 points and also 1,041 goals. Holy. Now that we are entering the double digits, Byfield would be back on the first line. He will continue playing with Svitov, but he's got Ratti on the left side there. Trouba and Andronov are going to be the top defensive pair. Kada Hat, the starting goaltender. 89 points out of the LA Kings this year, which is good enough for 5th in the Pacific, but not good enough for the playoffs. 63 points in 71 games was this season for Byfield, and Clements going to lead the league with 112 points. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be the Stanley Cup champions here, and Laine is playing for them now, as you just saw there. Huberdeau is the top retiring player for year 10, putting up 1,263 points in his career. Quinton and Ratti would have a new right winger this year, and it's going to be Lucas Raymond, so that's pretty cool. I'm super down with that. Sami Niku and Andronov as the top defensive pair there. Kada Hat still the starting goaltender. And finally, a decent term here, 6 years at $10.2 million. The team would finish 2nd in the entire league with 108 points, just shy of 50 wins. Byfield having a season cut short again when he was on a great pace. 64 games played and 52 points. Sort of just a small update on his playoff stats there. Connor McDavid would lead the league this year. He actually tied with Nate Mack at 124 points, so they share the Art Ross, I suppose. The Pity Pens are Stanley Cup champions here, and the LA Kings were eliminated in round 2, taking 6 games against the Edmonton Oilers. Nikita Kucherov is the top retiring player this year with 1,345 points. The line of Ratti, Byfield, and Raymond would remain here in year number 12. The top defensive pair is also going to be the same, and so will the starting goaltender. The team finishes 4th in the Pacific with 93 points and 44 wins on the season, and Byfield would lead the team. Well, I guess he's tied with Ratti, but anyway, 71 points in 82 games with a plus 17. Holtz going to win himself an Art Ross here, putting up 114 points. Shane Wright right behind him. The Dallas Stars are going to be the Stanley Cup champions here in year 12. Holtz, yep, there you go, winning himself some hardware individually as well. Barkov is the top retiring player with 1,365 points. Once again, the first line would remain the same here with Ratti, Byfield, and Raymond. We've got Chaika joining the top defensive pair there this year, and Katahat still going to be the starting goaltender. The team would finish 4th place with 92 points and 44 wins, and Byfield would put up 57 points individually, playing the full 82 games and having a +4. Another small update on his playoff stats here. Seems to be a bit of a playoff performer. Tim Stützle going to win the Art Ross this year with 105 points. And the Stanley Cup is headed from Texas to California. The San Jose Sharks are your Stanley Cup champions here, beating out Tampa Bay in 7, and also beat out the LA Kings in round 1. So again, losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. We got Tyler Seguin, top retiring player for year 13. Lucas Raymond has been demoted to the second line. I still see Svitov down there as well at 90 overall, but Marner 85 overall going to be on the first line. Harley 78 overall on the first defensive pair, and Carter Hart 87 overall, starting goaltender. Team finishes 2nd in the Pacific with 106 points, just shy of 50 wins again. Byfield putting up a nice amount of points in 80 games this year. Koskuranta going to lead the league, winning himself an Art Ross with 103 points. The Stanley Cup will remain in California. San Jose Sharks winning back-to-back Stanley Cups here. They beat out the Pittsburgh Penguins in 7 games, and the Vancouver Canucks would beat out the LA Kings in round 1, taking 5 games. Leon Draisaitl is the top retiring player this year from the Calgary Flames, having 1,567 points in his career. And just like that, Lucas Raymond is brought back up to the first line here, so a little reunion this season. The defense for the LA Kings starting to look pretty rough here all around, and Carter Hart, that sounds weird. I'm used to saying Katahat. Anyway, team finishes 3rd in the Pacific with 108 points and 52 wins on the season. Byfield would play 77 games this year and put up 55 points with a +19, and Quinn Hughes joining the elite company of Bobby Orr, putting up 112 points this season, winning himself an Art Ross. The bunch of jerks, Carolina Hurricanes, are going to win the Stanley Cup this year, beating out the Kraken in 5 games, and the LA Kings were eliminated by the Calgary Flames in the second round there, conference semifinals, taking 6 games. McKinnon is the top retiring player this year, finishing just shy of 1,900 points. Year 16 is now upon us, and that first line is still going to be there. Raymond, Byfield, and Ratti. I mean, it seems to be working out pretty good overall. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Defense still looks and Carter Hart no longer with the team. They would finish 4th in the Pacific, making the playoffs with 98 points and 45 wins. Byfield would play 80 games and put up 52 points with a +1. And Ryder Boyce with 137 points. I had it on medium scoring engine, like I always do, and that is absurd. So, yeah, I don't know how they managed to pull that off. But anyway, the Seattle Kraken are going to win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history, beating out the Bruins in 7 games. And the Kings were eliminated by the Winnipeg Jets in the second round conference semifinals, taking 6 games. Austin Matthews is the top retiring player this year with 1,524 points. In year 17, Byfield decides he's going to try out a new organization. He's headed to the Rangers, the team that actually just drafted Lafreniere first overall. So there we are. Smith and Drysdale as the top defensive pair. Askarov going to be the starting goaltender at 93 overall. A 2-year, $12.4 million deal was signed between the Rangers and Byfield. The team finishes first in the Metro with 96 points. And Byfield having another good paced season cut short here, having 60 games and 65 points. And he also played 23 playoff games and put up 26 playoff points. So yeah, 118 points out of boys, going to win the Art Ross. Calgary Flames, your Stanley Cup champions. So unfortunately, I honestly believe that Byfield would have got playoff MVP if they managed to pull it off, but they lost in 7 to the Flames. Come on, man. So close in the Stanley Cup finals there. Connor McDavid is the top retiring player this season with 1,944 points. In year 18, Byfield still going to be the first line center here for the New York Rangers, and Andronov, I think that's the same one, so maybe a little reunion there between Byfield and Andronov. Askarov still the starting goaltender, and the team finishes 4th in the entire league with 106 points, 48 wins. An insane season out of Byfield, playing 80 games, 98 points, and a plus 34 rating this season. Scott McCarty of the Calgary Flames winning the Art Ross, but Byfield 98 points, 3rd in the league there. You love to see it. Stanley Cup is headed back to Texas as the Dallas Stars go ahead and win themselves another one here in this simulation. They beat out the Florida Panthers in 5 games, and the Rangers were unfortunately swept in round 1 there against the Ottawa Senators. Another disappointing end to an otherwise very good season. Sebastian Aho is the top retiring player this year. Time to try out another organization here, the Dallas Stars, who seem to win quite a lot. He's on the second line there, 87 overall now. Chaika and James, the top defensive pair. Crombeen and Reed, so they got 2 good goaltenders. A $11 million deal over 2 years. Once again, big fan of short contracts, it seems, but I guess he is getting up there in age. So he would win a President's Trophy this year. The Dallas Stars get 113 points, finishing 1st in the league. Byfield putting up 83 points in 82 games and is still that far down. That's just how many points the team put up. McKenzie getting the Art Ross, though, with 127 points. And the Buffalo Sabres are going to be the Stanley Cup champions here. I just saw Quinn Hughes is playing for San Jose, which is kind of weird, but, I guess we are pretty deep into the simulation here. So anyway, Dallas Stars would be eliminated in round 2, the conference semifinals there. St. Louis Blues beat them in 7 games. Tim Stützle, the top retiring player this season with 1,408 points. Year number 20, Byfield going to be on the second line still here, and he's going to be a winger this time around. The defense not looking so good, honestly. The goaltender situation looks pretty solid, though. The team finishes 7th in the Central, 36 wins on the season and 83 points, and Quinton Byfield would play 81 games, putting up 60 points and having a +2 this season. Lavessieux, I probably butchered that anyway. Art Ross, 121 points for him. And the New Jersey Devils are going to be Stanley Cup champions this year. We've got Holtz, the top retiring player this year with 1,563 points in his career. Year 21, Byfield decides to try out another different organization here. He's headed to the Islanders, where he will be the 4th line centerman. The defense looks decent, and the goaltender situation is very similar to what it was in Dallas. He signs a 1-year, $5.8 million contract with a team that finishes 8th, aka last in the Metropolitan Division. 29 wins this season. Byfield would play 78 games, put up 37 points, and have a -24. McKenzie going to win an Art Ross with 122 points, and the Calgary Flames going to win a Stanley Cup again here. So things are working out for them, clearly. Lafreniere is going to be the top retiring player this year, and Byfield is down there at number 4. He will also retire with 1,178 points, his best season being that 98-point season. He also was a +98, which I'm surprised about. I thought he'd be in the negatives, but no, not even close. And he almost put up 1,000 PIMs, which is great. But yeah, he had a few seasons that were unfortunately cut short for injuries or whatever, but he could have done so much better, honestly, if it weren't for those, but it happens. And also, he got robbed of playoff MVP. If they just took that Game 7. Looking back at the career, at some high-level things here, he signed 21 years worth of contracts at $67.125 million total. He won 2 President's Trophies, one with the LA Kings and one with the Dallas Stars. And throughout his career, he played majority of it with the LA Kings, but then he played a couple seasons with the Rangers, a couple seasons with Dallas, and finished off with the New York Islanders. Because he went 21 years, I mean, there's players that retired before him that were created, like just completely generated. So yeah, but anyway, here's the top players all-time list. We got Sergei Fedorov at number 100 with 1,248 games. He put up 483 goals, 696 assists for a total of 1,179 points. And then we got Johnny Gaudreau at 101, who played 1,408 games, 452 goals, 726 assists for a total of 1,178 points. And also at 101, with very similar stats to Gaudreau. The goals is one more and assists is one less. He played 1,551 games, put up 453 goals, 725 assists for a total of 1,178 points. So thank you guys for watching. I actually had to grind pretty hard to get this video out for you guys this Sunday. So if you could drop a like and subscribe, that would be tremendously appreciated. I hope you guys are enjoying the NHL 21 content so far. Let me know who you want to see simmed next and leave that in the comments down below. Be sure to like each other's comments so I know what you guys would like to see. But yeah, once again, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.